Hey everyone, this is Lydia Machova from languagementoring.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can make your language learning really systematic using a very simple method. I'm going to explain it to you using a book. This is my favorite book for learning grammar. It's in Czech, available in the Czech Republic and Slovakia, so don't look for it elsewhere. But this book is really cool because it has a lot of exercises. As you can see, it's pretty thick. A lot of exercises to practice grammar and actually no explanations of grammar at all. You see, this is my favorite way of learning grammar, through doing a lot of exercises and applying analogy to figure out how the grammar actually works. So if I do, let's say 20 sentences, after the first 4 or 5, I usually get how this works, for example, for the masculine, in the genitive case, and then I just continue and I test my own hypothesis and see how that works with other words as well. And if I have a problem with something, I note it down. But now, this is not the important thing in this video. The thing is how to work systematically with a book like this, how to do exercises in it. Well, I'll show you how this book is made. It's basically a book full of exercises on the left side and then just the answers on the right side of the book, which means that you don't have to look for the key in the back, which is something I really like. Now, my system of working through this book is doing just 1 page every day. If I wanted to do all of it, step by step, I would be really put off because the book is so thick and oh my god, there's so much grammar to learn and so many exercises to do. I think that I won't even start. But if I tell myself, okay, I'm just going to do this for a month or maybe 2 months and I'm going to do 1 page a day, this is not a terrifying goal. This is something I can achieve very easily, right? So this book has a lot of chapters, about 15 or so, and they are divided into grammar chapters. So that means the first one is about nouns, the second is about the masculine nouns, the second is about the female nouns, etc. And so this is basically the chapters in the book. Now, I could decide to just work through it page by page, start with the nouns, do a few weeks of nouns and then go to the verbs, etc. But I don't like to do that because it's boring. And if I was to do that, I suppose that I would give up after a few days, maybe weeks, but it's just boring to do only nouns, right? So what I do instead is that I do the first page of the first chapter on the first day. The second day, I do the first page of the second chapter. And the third day, I do the first page of the third chapter. You see? So I go through that book I skip a few pages and then I do the first page of the next chapter, etc., etc. And I basically go through that book. It takes me about 15 days if there's 15 chapters, okay? Now, what I do is I don't just do the exercises. First of all, I do them out loud. I always do all my exercises out loud because this helps me to really remember the stuff and it helps me to practice the pronunciation as well. I realize that I don't really know, for example, how to pronounce that word. I check it in a dictionary, etc. Now, after I do that, I always note the exercises that I had a problem with. So, for example, here you can see that I circle the sentences which I had a problem with, which were problematic, which I didn't answer correctly, okay? And in this way, I make sure that I can get back to it later when I revise, and I don't have to go through all the exercises again. So I always only know the ones that I had a problem with and I want to revise later. Now, after 15 days, after I've been through the first page of every single chapter in this book, I get back to the first chapter, but before I do my second page of that chapter, of chapter number 1, I look back at the first page and I just look at those exercises I had a problem with, the ones that are circled or have a dot or whatever, and I do them over again because I want to make sure that the stuff I learned the first time actually sticks in my mind, is in my long-term memory, and I want to revise it, to remember it. If I had a problem with it still, I make a special mark. So for example, first I circle the sentence, and if I had a problem, I put a dot next to it. If I have a problem later when I revise, I put a big exclamation mark, because this is clearly something that is a problem with me and I need to practice it again, right? So then, after I do this, this really takes just maybe 2 minutes because there's not so many sentences I had a problem with, so I just revise those. And afterwards, I do the second page of the first chapter, right? So in this way, I can get through the whole book. You know, the next day again, I do the second page of the second chapter, second page of third chapter, etc., etc. I think this is pretty clear. Now, this is a way for me which works amazingly because it's systematic and I have a plan. I have a plan not to go through all of this book, which is like 600 pages long, but instead to work on it for a month, let's say, every day for 10 minutes. It's all it takes, really. 10 minutes, and this is all the grammar that I've ever done in Russian. And I don't have any problems using the Russian grammar. Actually, using the analogy, based on all the examples that I've seen here, I can create my own sentences and kind of guess what the next word or what a word could look like, even though I've never seen it in that genitive case, or, you know, I've never seen it in the plural or something. And sometimes I'm wrong, you know, sometimes I make a mistake, but most times it really works amazingly, and I actually use the grammar correctly based on this. And this is my only book I've ever worked with to learn Russian grammar, and it's really amazing. I mean, I love the way the book even smells, you know. I have to have a relationship with the material that I use. I think that really makes learning much more enjoyable, much more fun. And if this is lying next to my bed on the bedside, it's one of the first things I usually do in the morning, then it's enjoyable. You know, it's really not like, oh my God, I have to learn grammar, but it's gonna take me 10 minutes. And even if I don't feel like really going through grammar exercises, I tell myself, I'm just going to do this, you know, to know that I can move on to the next chapter and go through the book step by step. So this is an example of how I learn languages in a systematic way. If you have any other examples of how you do it, then please leave a comment. I would love to see how you work with a language systematically and what helps you keep the pace and keep you going, because we know that motivation, sometimes, you know, we have it, sometimes we don't, and we need to find a way how to keep us going, right? Well, good luck with your learning a language, and don't forget to watch languagementoring.com or the Facebook page Language Mentoring. See you later.